He drove a truck. I think it was a forklift. And he went over taxes. It was in a forklift. I love forklifts. They're power those suckers. They can lift it. What the hell? I watch all these guys, Mark, working out. They're working out. They can never top a forklift, right? I'd rather drive a forklift than lift this way.
Who would want open borders? You know, where people are coming from parts unknown, countries that you've never heard of, languages that nobody in this country speaks. You know, we don't even have teachers of some of these languages. Who would think that? We have languages that are like from the planet Mars. Nobody knows how to, you know, speak it.
What's up, guys? Boston Brian here from the Midas Touch Network, and it's really surprising to me with a winning message like forklifts and languages from Mars that Donald Trump is struggling to get even 60 to 70% of the party's vote that he won with 96% of in 2016. That sweaty, rambling, incoherent mess of a man is the best the Republican Party has to offer right now, which is in stark contrast to Joe Biden, as we saw as his State of the Union address was just one of the better speeches in Joe Biden's career. Unfortunately for Donald Trump, it didn't get any more coherent from what you just saw. And even though Donald Trump's team of politicians and propagandists have been working overtime to try to get you to believe that Donald Trump is not cognitively impaired, his recent flubs and gaffes at recent speeches and appearances have only raised more questions in that regard. Here he is in just his few recent appearances.
We're like, ding, boom, this they're gonna drill, they're gonna be boom. This is me, I hear, bing. Venezuela. Did you just see Maduro? Venezuela, it's unbelievable. And the next congressman from the 6th district, you know, Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your... Oh. How does the back of my head look? Is it okay? I'm like an artist.
Even when that orange-crusted, bigoted xenophobe did manage to get a sentence out that contained, you know, actual friggin' words, it didn't make much sense anyway, because here he is killing his own case in 2 seconds when he first tells you we have absolutely no idea where these people are coming from, you know, parts unknown, and then in the very next line tells you exactly where these people are coming from.
They're from parts unknown. You know what that means, parts unknown? They're coming from the Congo. They come from all parts of Africa, Asia, the Middle East. Last night they had 4 from the Congo. Where in the Congo do you live? I wonder what beautiful place do you live in the Congo? We are from prison. What did you do? Murder.
Or like this absolute nonsense that he's now been working into his recent speeches and somehow manages to say with a straight face, which only people living under a rock or the most devout followers of his cult will believe, that he now is taking credit for the record highs in the stock market, and it's only happening because people believe he's going to win the 2024 election. But of course, right?
By the way, you know, the stock market's gone up. There are big professionals, some of the people I know, the biggest, smartest guys on Wall Street. You know why it's going up? Because they think I'm going to win the election. And if we don't win the election, you're going to see what happens. You'll end up in 1929.
And frankly, as ridiculous as it is for Donald Trump to take credit for the economic recovery under Joe Biden's administration, I think it's even more crazy and even more disgusting for him to call Mark Robinson, who is the nominee to become governor of North Carolina, who is also a Holocaust denier, an anti-Semite, a bigot, and a xenophobe, the next coming of Martin Luther King, or Martin Luther King on steroids.
You know, I heard him coming in on the plane. I was listening, and I said to the people on the plane, watch this. This is Martin Luther King on steroids. Okay, now, I told that to Mark. I said, I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King times 2. And he looked at me, and I wasn't sure, was he angry because that's a terrible thing to say, or was he complimented? I have never figured it out, but I'm telling you, he's one of, right? When I said that to you, you looked like, I don't know if I like that comment. You should like it.
Nothing like Donald Trump telling an African-American man, as reprehensible as he is, how he should feel about remarks made about Dr. Martin Luther King. Next up on Trump's xenophobic crazy train, he is actually trying to claim that, once again, migrants are taking over schools, which we all know is absolutely not a thing. He also claims that kids are being kicked out of parks, there's no more little leagues, and there's no more life of any kind in any American cities. Yes, he actually said that.
We're putting migrants in who don't speak the language, they have no idea what the teacher's saying, and we have children that are no longer going to school. They're throwing them out of the park. There's no more little leagues. There's no more sports. There's no more life in New York and so many of these cities.
Here he is claiming that other countries would have their citizens shot on the spot for having a fist fight with police, which I believe is giving the game away and showing us exactly how he would want police to rule if he were to get back in power.
You know, I've seen cops over there. They get hit and they get shot and they get everything, and it's horrible. But I've never seen fistfights. Think of it. A fist fight, where guys are fist fighting with cops in the street, and that's not as bad as being shot. You know what? In a certain way, it's really incredible because the nerve of these people. And if this happened in their country, they would be gone, they would be shot, and they'd be shot and gone within 2 minutes. They wouldn't allow this.
And here he is, like the genius that we all know he is, brilliantly claiming that Joe Biden has some conspiratorial plot to overthrow the United States government. Yes, the government Joe Biden is already in charge of, so he would be overthrowing himself.
Every day, Joe Biden is giving aid and comfort to the foreign enemies of the United States. Biden's conduct on our border is, by any definition, a conspiracy to overthrow the United States of America. That's what's happening.
And here's the sun-dried, sundowning Mussolini still trying to get everybody to believe, trying his hardest to get everybody to believe that he intentionally mixes up Obama and Biden, and he intentionally mixes up Nancy Pelosi and Nikki Haley's names when talking in speeches, when we all know that, especially after the examples we've shown in this video, that it is absolutely nothing intentional that he does. And if he was doing it intentionally, it makes even less sense.
Obama, it's President Biden. So I have to be very, very careful. I have to be very, very careful. We have many of them. I purposely mix up like a name like Bird Brain. You know who Bird Brain is, right, Nikki? With Nancy Pelosi. I put them in because they're interchangeable in my mind.
Luckily for most Americans, and of course anybody here watching the Midas Touch Network, it's very easy to see that Donald Trump's cognitive decline is becoming ever more apparent and is becoming more and more difficult for Donald Trump to deny, which is why he has to try to get you to believe that he mixes up Obama and Biden's name on purpose and Nikki and Nancy's name on purpose, and likes to get you to believe that the world is laughing at us and that the world is laughing at Joe Biden, when in reality the world is laughing at the United States. Fortunately for us, they recognize, just like us, that it's Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans that they should be laughing at. Here's James O'Brien on LBC, who has one of, if not the most popular radio shows in all of Britain, trying to keep a straight face when talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, and also talking about how futile and ridiculous it is to compare Marjorie Taylor Greene to any of the Democrats in this country.
A politician called Marjorie Taylor Greene once issued among the most extraordinary and quite possibly anti-Semitic interventions I've ever witnessed from a modern-day politician. She claimed, with a straight face on a Facebook post, that one of the wildfires had been caused by the Rothschild family, who are often the target of anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, using a space laser. So it is why the phrase Jewish space lasers entered into popular parlance, because she claimed that a California wildfire had been started by a laser, a space laser, controlled by an executive at a bank owned by the Rothschild family. What do you? Because I find it hard to do these. I can't have conversations about American politics, really, in the traditional sense, because you shouldn't be having conversations about people like her and then saying, and on the other hand, here's a Democrat.
And honestly, I think American journalists and the mainstream media in this country could learn a lot from the British journalists and the British press and how they call out ridiculous politicians without a care in the world. In fact, here's a clip of one of them doing just that to Marjorie Taylor Greene this week.
Can you tell me why so many people that support Donald Trump love conspiracy theories, including yourself? He seems to attract lots of conspiracy theorists.
Well, let me tell you, you're a conspiracy theorist, and the left and the media spreads more conspiracy theories. We like the truth. We like supporting our Constitution, our freedoms, and America first. So,
What about Jewish space lasers? Tell us about Jewish space lasers.
No, why don't you go talk about Jewish space lasers? And really, why don't you off? How about that?
So listen, guys, whether it's Donald Trump talking about forklifts or long-lost languages nobody's ever heard of, or whether it's Marjorie Taylor Greene dressing up like a 32-foot Sea Ray in a Donald Trump boat parade going to the State of the Union address, the people in this country, the vast majority of the people in this country, and the vast majority of the people outside of this country recognize what's going on, want the right people to step up and do the right things and make the right choices, and to make sure that Donald Trump and people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and all these MAGA Republicans make it nowhere near the hands of power, make it nowhere near the White House ever again. So let's make sure that we recognize that the decisions that we make in the 2024 election are going to have lasting impacts both inside and outside of this country, which makes it all the more important that we all continue to stay involved, we all continue to do our part in calling this stuff out wherever it may be, wherever it be on social media, whether it be at work, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be with family, whether it be with friends. Call it out wherever you see it. Do not let any of this bullshit stand. You cannot let it fester. The more you let it spread, the harder it's going to be to contain. If you like what you're seeing, if you like what you're hearing, please feel free to subscribe. Please like this video, share this video. We here at Midas Touch are on our way to 3 million subscribers, which is just absolutely mind-blowing. Without you, none of that would be possible. You can also check us out on patreon.com/MidasTouch, and if you'd like to help independent creators like myself who have nobody above them telling them what they can and cannot say, you can check me out on patreon.com/BostonBrian. I would very much appreciate it. It goes a long way in helping produce content like this. Until next time, keep kicking ass, keep calling this out. I'm Boston Brian. Have a great night.